Hi everyone, this is Rosemary from the Unfinished Lesson, and this is another Quick Win series. In this particular series, we are taking a look at how to balance having a creative studio and having a personal life. In our previous videos, we took a look at the ladder of priorities, highly effective, really simple exercise that makes a massive amount of difference in how we approach things in our studios. We also took a look at the power of no, one of my favorite words. And then also in video 3, we took a look at studio dilemmas. So specific situations where maybe we aren't saying no per se, but we need to change how we approach things without going against our ladder of priorities. If you have not watched those videos, you're going to hit pause, go down below. I've got the links to all 3 of those videos, and when you do the exercises, it really will help. It'll help you get the most out of this series. All right, so what is video 4 about? Video 4 is about what are you willing to say no to? Now, this one's a tough one, I will say. I mentioned in a previous video that when we say no to something, we are saying yes to something else. Okay, and this is really the key to balance. I know work-life balance sometimes seems like it's this nebulous thing. You know, there's going to be times when you spend more time on work, and there's going to be times when you spend more time on life. And it might feel like there isn't balance when we don't have it equal all the time. But honestly, making perfectly balanced time for everything, every day, and every week, it's impossible. And you know what? That's okay. That doesn't mean it can't be balanced over the long term. Okay? So back in video 1, I go through the ladder of priorities. This was an exercise I found actually in my early 20s. I think it was my early 20s. And when I finished the exercise and I looked at what I truly felt like my priorities were, then I looked at how I spent my time and I went, there's a complete disconnect between these two things, right? They were two totally different things. What I said was important in this exercise and how I was actually spending my time, there wasn't really overlap. Well, that's a problem. That's when we have a disconnect and we tend to feel either overwhelmed or we feel frustrated or we feel like we're just not really living the life we're meant to live, right? When we have a disconnect between those two things. So we have to think about what we're willing to say no to, right? No keeps us from burning out, whether that's emotionally, physically, mentally, creatively, right? No isn't a bad thing. And no can also include not right now. You're not saying no forever, but no for right now. Oftentimes when a new opportunity comes up, I tend to ask a lot of questions. You know, in terms of when is it due, what is the scope of what they would like me to do, and then I have to look at my schedule and ask those 2 questions from video 2 in terms of whether I can actually commit to that and what am I going to be saying no to if I say yes to this. So there are some non-negotiables, and these are going to come from your ladder of priorities, video 1. That you should always say no to things that are going to infringe on those and there is a caveat here. So for example, like back to school registration season and recital season, they tend to be 3 of the busiest times in a studio. And there are going to be, those are times when you're probably going to spend more time on work and you're not going to be saying no to as many things for work, but you might have to say no to some things in your personal life, depending on how you have things set up, right? But then my hope is, and what I would really encourage you to do is make sure that then flips. so that once you're done that busy time, that then you start saying yes more to the things on your personal life versus your work life. Does that make sense? All right, so before you go on with the rest of your day, let's help you figure out what you're willing to say no to. I would like you to look at your current or upcoming opportunities. Okay? Now I say opportunities because there's so many things that we can do. Now opportunities can be everything from collaborating with another teacher. It could be adding a new studio offering or programming. It can be things like adding another event in your studio, whatever it is, or even taking on more students. I want you to look at that, both current and future, and think or write down, what are you willing to say no to so that you have time to say yes to the things that are truly important to you. Remember that when we have a disconnect between what our priorities are and how we spend our time, that's when we burn out in every way. And it's where we end up feeling frustrated or sad, or just kind of this general sense of, is this really what my life is supposed to be? We never want to reach that stage, right? So again, before you go on with the rest of your day, I want you to look at what's coming up. What are you willing to say no to so that you say yes to the things that are truly important to you? Let me know in the comments below. I am really looking forward to hearing those. So that you don't feel like you're alone in doing this one. One of the things that I'm willing to say no to is at one point I was doing big projects every single week. So I'm willing to say no to doing as many projects, even though it did allow me to reach a lot of teachers and help a lot of teachers. But I'm willing to say no to as many of those. I still want to do them, but really reduce that so it's not every week a massive project, so that I can say yes to walks with my husband, that I can spend time with my kids, that I can read a novel when I want to, So let me know in the comments below, what are you going to do? Okay, what are you saying no to so you can say yes? Have an incredible day. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.